Welcome. Welcome to our third chapter, mentoring program, the third step, review of practice of vital self-meditation. We will analyze and verify our personal experience since beginning of our practice. What is the vision of this goal? The development, freedom, fulfillment through the development of higher states of consciousness. In the light of personal experience, we will examine the value of the extended impulses of consciousness, meditation and action to achieve the goal to develop our full potential. We always discuss our results. First of all, I would like to talk with you again about new experiences and aspects of your daily meditation. You may have noticed that there are some important questions on the questionnaire I've sent you. I've sent you these questions by email in advance. It is a normal thing that when someone starts with vital self-meditation, we experience good results from the beginning on and develop them lasting. We may observe through our daily practice the results grow day by day and continuously. We've emphasized this from the beginning of the information about vital self-meditation and repeatedly addressed in our mentoring talks. Even if the practice is mental, we begin to feel its benefits in all areas of life. Body, behavior, communication, environment, the effectiveness of our activity, and appreciation of the world around us, social interaction, self-efficacy, growing resilience. We've stressed all these areas from the very beginning on. You remember the introductory lectures and the first information about the program of Vital Self-Meditation. What were the four main areas of focus we have been talking about? Development of our mental potential, in which I explained that Vital Self-Meditation produces clearer thinking and that meditation frees us from mental stress and tension. It expands consciousness and improves the ability to concentrate. Second, another point was the impact of vital self-meditation on our health. Now, within the first days of our meditation practice, we have experienced deep relaxation that this natural method brings to the body. The increasement of physical energy that we feel is due to the effect. The general experience is that meditators do not feel as tired towards the end of the day as before, and that they are fitter during the day. Third, it is the natural state of body and mind that makes you capable of spontaneous good behavior and strengthens our character. Almost everyone has experienced this increasing calm and relaxation of the mind, felt more vibrancy and observed how a delicate and ability of broader understanding and social perception develops. We experience situations, of course, at a distance, more dissociated from a broader perspective, as if looking from a helicopter, and are therefore able to grasp and recognize more our reality. We spontaneously become more tolerant, understanding, sensitive, and appreciative for situations that arise and grow in our own environment. More loving more mindful our behavior becomes normal through meditation. Meditators create a noticeable soft environment around them. And it is this quality of meditation that will create a natural situation of harmony everywhere. What are some factors that could be directly associated with the experience of increasing, improved functions of consciousness? Creativity, our perceptual capacity, moral judgment, neuromuscular coordination, the concept of learning, the grade average for students. We emphasized aspects in the introductory lectures when we established the principle of social peace through vital self-meditation. You can see that when the meditator begins to meditate in their lives, and we see that peace is growing. This shows that world peace is possible when individuals begin to meditate. For some people, however, it is obvious that these experiences are more striking, and for others they are more modest. Experiences vary in intensity. This has to do with the different conditions of our nervous system. The reason for this is that those who are naturally calmer and already more relaxed experience no contrast in the relaxation states. Their lives are, of course, relaxed. If they feel more relaxed through meditation, the contrast is not so great. But even in such cases, the benefits are positive and cumulative with regular meditation. The benefits of vital self-meditations are real because they are balanced at both sides, at the level of body and of mind. We do not think about results and any benefits, we live them. They become a part of our nature. Vital self-meditation simultaneously develops all aspects of personality, body, mind, behavior, and also environment. Not only in the adolescent age, but also adults can develop social skills such as empathy. The human brain is able to change and adapt to new conditions for a lifetime. Scientists call this ability plasticity. Until now, it was unclear to what extent this also includes the areas of the brain that control social behavior. To investigate this brain setting, a research team at the Max Planck Institute for Cognitive and Neuroscience development mental examination methods for social skills and measured their effects on the behavior of participants, their brain structures and hormone balance. Two key findings have now been published in a journal, Science Advances. A look at the brain, the behavior and the response to the participants on stress shows not only that social skills can be practiced and stress can be reduced. The study also reveals that different forms of mental training through meditation can have a very different effect on our brain, health and behavior. The best reformers the world has ever seen are those who start with themselves, said George Bernard Shaw. What role do thoughts play outside of meditation? Thoughts are the expression of life. Life finds expression and expansion in the impulse of a thought. The evolutionary impulse of these seems to be expressed in two different modes, of activity, one that creates the steps of progression, and the other one which neutralizes any resistance or obstruction for progress. We know this from our meditation experience. The same evolutionary impulse causes the mind to expand by providing it with the experiences of finer states of thought, and in the same process giving the body deep rest to eliminate tensions that were the obstacles to the expansion of the mind and the use of its full potential. When thoughts appear negative, they denote the clearance of stress and strains in the system. Any negativity means that the system is affected. All of our inherent elements, we call them bhutas, are somehow disturbed. A thought is called negative because it is unsuitable in the context of the environment. But even then, the so-called negative thought is all positive in terms of its own source. That is the process of releasing stress. Empowerment refers to strategies and measures designed to increase the degree of autonomy and self-determination in the life of people or communities, and to enable them to defend their interests independently. You are what you believe in. You become who you think you can become, says the Bhagavad Gita. If you want to walk out, you must first chase the stable cattle out of the stables. This metaphor can be applied to many areas of life, on a farm, in politics, in economy, banks, population, money, etc. But the inner tidiness of man would be essential and more fundamental. The inner outing, the thoughts bubbles and persistent inner disturbed mind, states of mind. This can only be done through meditation, to calm the wandering and confused, anxious and hyperventilating mind. If we talk about stability, we can mention our head or brain or soul, of course also our body. If you want clear results in life, you first need a clear head that is able to distinguish. In yoga we call it viveka, not between black and white, bright and dark, sweet and sour, opinion A and B, but between inner power, pure consciousness and absolute reality, and colored, entropic, restless, untidy, disordered reality of his mind and relative reality. Just clean your inner stable before you get to work, before you act. Regular meditation leaves lasting positive traces in your brain. It permanently regulates activity in the brain, centers the cause, anxiety, mental illness and attention disorders. The brain areas of regular meditating people are more closely linked. As a result, they are better able to concentrate on current situations or tasks in every life and are more mindful. This is reported by US researchers in the journal Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences. The ability of meditation to let people live in the here and now has been known for thousands of years, said first author Justin Brewer of the Yale University. Likewise, regular meditation has a positive effect on health. It helps against pain, depression and anxiety disorders, helps smokers and other addicts with withdrawal, and can even prevent diseases such as shingles, says the researcher. What changes in the brain Where behind these effects, however, have only been partially clarified so far. Meditators can concentrate better. Now it has been found out that meditation mainly affects the central network of brain cells, the so-called default mode network. Both the activity and the links in this network are different for often meditators than for meditators who just started. According to the researchers, the results also explain why regular meditation and meditators can focus better on current situations or tasks in everyday life and are more mindful. Their default mode network is permanently more close linked to brain regions for working memory, conscious control, and conflict management. The meditation experiences seem to have developed a new normal state in which there is more contemporary attention and less self-related digressive thoughts, the researchers said. In their study, the researchers compared the brain activity of 12 people who have been meditating regularly for more than a decade with 12 other meditation beginners. All subjects used these different meditation techniques and were examined using functional magnetic resonance tomography. The same examination was done in the relaxed state without meditation. In all trials, 2 centers of the default mode network were less active among experienced meditators than among the newcomers. These centers, the middle prefrontal cortex in the forehead brain and the posterior singularity cortex in the posterior part of the cerebral cortex, are responsible, among other things, for the processing of emotions and the control of attention. Excessive preoccupation with one's own inner world makes you sick. Therefore, the right method of instruction in the meditation technique, such as it is done in Vital Self Meditation and our mental training program and mentoring program, is very important for the success of meditation. The study has now shown that meditation influences the underlying mechanisms in the brain. This raises the fascinating possibility that we could specifically alleviate ADHD, the so-called attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, and other diseases through a method as simple and cost-effective as meditation. The researchers wrote about that. I remember the words of the book Yoga Vasishta. Our thoughts are like a city in the clouds. Thoughts create the whole world. In people's lives takes place what's going on in people's lives because it plays a role in the spirit, in the mind of the people. Through thoughts, we create our circumstances and activity fields in life, our personal battlefield. There can be a blessing, of course. Every stimulation, every imprint, every perception that we have to digest shapes the quality of thinking and of action. Whether we are accelerating, read beautiful inspirational texts, books, reading news, listening to music, watching films, or we have to digest dark, negative and fearful horror stories, mentally and emotionally. Everything shapes our mind, our emotions, our virtue and our ethics. Through the quality of our thoughts, we either reap success, positivity, happiness, joy, health and prosperity, or they bring us a life of failure, disease, misfortune, fear, poverty and war. Pay attention to your thoughts, for they become words. Pay attention to your words, for they would take action. Pay attention to your actions, for they become habit. Pay attention to your habits, for they become your character. Pay attention to your character, for he will be your destiny. The narrow version of Charles Reads goes back to the Chinese proverb. How does the normal function of the nervous system spontaneously maintains pure consciousness? And what normalizes the nervous system is the release of stress. The release of stress, as we have seen, is spontaneously brought about by the deep resting state of the system that was truly gained during meditation. The deep rest that the system receives is due to the refinement of mental activity. When the mind thinks on the first level of thoughts, mental activity is refined. We have seen and talked about that, and we know that the use of the mantra refines the thoughts. When the thought comes, there is an increase of activity. This has to do with the resolution of stress, which is taken by the thought or by an increased mental activity. The inner state is thus prepared for much finer mental activity. This is the reason why once we have begun to practice, no matter what happens, whether the mind pulsates at the level of the mantra or a thought, the benefits, they are inevitable. That's why we say, take it easy. Even when a thought comes, we do not try to suppress the thought. We come back to the mantra, lightly and effortlessly, because from the mantra allows us to immerse ourselves deeper in even finer states of inner consciousness. The releases of stress and internal tension automatically leads to a favorable framework of maintaining the full potential of the mind, which extends from the depths of silence to the surface of mental activity. It encompasses the entire realm of life, from the unmanifest plane, the absolute reality, to the existence, to the manifest physical realm of our reality. When we speak of this restful state of the nervous system, we remember what we said in the previous mentoring chapter. To avoid an effect or an unstable disturbance, we never suddenly get out of meditation. If we want to finish the meditation, we close the meditation gently. We stop the inner process by stopping the mantra inside, but still keep our eyes closed for about 2 to 3 minutes. We always pay attention to the value of silence and quiet pause of about half a minute before we start with meditation, and 2 to 3 minutes of silence after meditation. In our vision of our goals, we have to think of some other aspects. First, each of the waking state of awareness, sleeping and dreaming, has its own physiology. What does this mean? Each state of consciousness has his corresponding state of physiology. That means the activity of the mind corresponds to the activity of the nervous system. The pure nature of our all-encompassing intelligence. But natural growth also has its corresponding state of physiology. It is the fourth state of consciousness. It is also called the fourth. Education, culturing and character development serve to live in harmony with society and its laws, but no education, however, whatever its academic significance and how learned man is, has no meaning if, despite all knowledge and competence, it is far removed from the experience of the first state of consciousness. Turiya and alive in accordance with the laws of nature. The Mandukya Upanishad, in her 7th verse, says, Turiya is not that which is conscious of the internal subjective world, nor that which is conscious of the external objective world, nor that which is conscious of both, nor that which is a mass of sentiency, nor that which is simple consciousness, nor that which is insentient. It is unseen by any sense organ, not related to anything incomprehensible by the mind, uninferable, unthinkable, undescribable, essentially of the nature of consciousness constituting the self alone, negation of all phenomena, the peaceful and bliss and the non-dual. This is what is known as the fourth, Turiya. This is the Atman, and it has to be realized. In addition to the normal states of waking, dreaming and deep sleep, Turiya is located within and between these states. Each change from one of these three to the next state unconsciously passes through the fourth principal state of consciousness. Turiya can also be located between two thoughts. In the yoga philosophy, the Sanskrit term Turiya refers to the experience of pure, still, unbounded consciousness, which forms the background for the three ordinary states of consciousness of waking, dreaming, dreamless sleep, and transcending them. We have seen the breath slows down and gets slower as the mantra becomes finer and finer. The calmness of the body corresponds to the restful state of mind in a restful waking state, higher alertness. Every sitting in meditation creates this restful state of body and mind. Daily practice stabilizes this restful state of body and mind, even during dynamic activity. In the first 2 chapters, we have studied the inner process of meditation, and now this time we want to understand the external process and the value of daily activity. The inner process of meditation in the increasing silence, the infinite and the outer process of meditation draws the silent, still consciousness into the field of worldly gross physical activity. When pure consciousness or pure intelligence grows in life, one spontaneously begins to become more effective out of one's own nature. So if we want to locate the infinite, we meditate. If we want to stabilize the infinite, we act. Connect and act. Stability through activity. Calm and activity. Silence and activity. Due to the regular change of vital self meditation and daily activity, a state is gained in which the nervous system does not lose the influence of rest even when it is in dynamic activity in this state. Whatever tension and stresses are created by activity, they are eliminated at the same time, so to speak, because it is the rest that neutralizes stress. Now, this state in which pure growth is permanently established, we have to mention another, a fifth state of consciousness. We call it cosmic consciousness because it is all-encompassing. That is where Turiya, pure, silent, the fourth state of consciousness, is maintained together with dreaming, sleeping and waking, simultaneously and stable. This development of cosmic consciousness requires only regular meditation in the morning and evening and regular activity during the day. Maintain balance and massive daily activity, the calm of the night and regular meditation, morning and evening. This will automatically lead to higher states of consciousness. We can read in the Bhagavad Gita in chapter 6, verse 25, one should gradually withdraw with the intellect endowed with steadiness, making the mind fixed in the self, free from any thought of the thinking mind. I found a nice commentary in the Bhagavad Gita book of Maharishi Mahesh Yogi. The body should be given the rest it needs, and one should engage in activity, but not to a state of exhaustion. Recreation should be taken in due proportion so that it is neither too little or too much. Life should flow in a regular way with a proper measure of activity, and with each thing given is just value. One should avoid excess in all things and be regular in meditation, for this will result in the states of inner peace and freedom from bondage. And in verse 26 it is said, the yogi should bring the mind under the subjugation of the self itself, by restraining it from all those causes whatever due to which the restless, unsteady mind wanders away. Whenever the mind, on account of its fickle and unsteady nature, wanders, because of its proclivity to sense objects, he should, subduing the mind everywhere with effort, bring it under control in order to remain in the self alone by contemplating on the incomparable bliss therein. Do you know the historical origin of these texts? These verses have been written more than 3,500 years ago. It is very surprising to me that so long ago the ancient Indian had such a deep insight into human psychology and our mind. The yogic psychology was already very knowledgeable about the subject and is still leading in the science of consciousness. What happens when a cloth is dyed? Previously, cloths were not dyed in a machine, but by hand and in the air. The dyeing industry has developed a tradition of thousands of years and its own professional profile with numerous specializations. Today, unless it is carried out by hand, it is attributed to the chemical industry. In order to ensure that the natural color of the textile influences the hue and especially the brilliance during the dyeing, as little as possible, textiles made of natural fibers are bleached beforehand. With natural dyeing, add other cloth, after cloth, as unfold as possible, slowly put it into the water and then move the cloth evenly through the color soup so that color comes to each corner of the cloths. Every 5 to 10 minutes the fabric must be stirred again to get an even color result. Then the materials are placed out on the lawn in the sun, bleaching in the process of removing or weakening unwanted stains. This happens so often until no paint could be removed from the bleaching. An old German poem says, "On green lawn lies the linen, so that the sun can shine it. Mary pures with a lot of diligence, that's why laundry becomes so white." The same thing happens through the process of meditation. Calm and activity, deep, silent, sophisticated, dynamic activity. In the end, the state remains permanent, pure, clear consciousness in our perception and in our state of mind, stable and self-sufficient. What is the important in this context? Both aspects of life, activity and meditation, are important to ascend to higher states of consciousness and fulfill the plan of life. In this way, the goal of human life is achieved in a natural way: fullness, joy, fulfillment. We meditate calmly in the morning and in the evening, and the execution of this program will take care of itself. The sun shines at the same way everywhere, but its ray of light and its effect can be found everywhere else. The pure field of infinite creative intelligence is the same everywhere, just as the law of gravity is the same everywhere. But the brilliance of pure inner light, pure consciousness, is different because of the different nervous systems. The nervous system can be considered as a reflector of the pure light, of the pure field of clear, awake consciousness. This reflection is the individuality of the self. We are aware that there are two types of writing the self. One with a small s, and another form on which we use a large S. If the nervous system, the mirror, is full of stress and strain, it is not able to produce the clear reflection. Like green water in the glass. When the water is cleaned, the reflection becomes less green. The purification of water could continue and the reflection would be further clearer. It may be possible to clear the water to such an extent that the reflection might say, "I am the sun." In Zen it is said, "When I point my finger at the moon, do not look at my finger, look at the moon." We cannot experience the sun through pondering out of the mind that has no light of its own, like the moon and the sun. We must go beyond reflection, transcend the horizon of our boundaries of mind. As an old yoga book by yoga teacher Patanjali says, Yogash Chitta Vritti Nirodha. Yoga is the resting of the movements in the mind. You stand by a lake and it's shining full moon, and the full moon illuminates the dark night. A strong wind blows. Light waves can be observed on the upper part of the lake. The water is restless. Due to many waves, the moon is not clearly reflected by the surface of the water. Infinite of prisms are reflected and they can be seen. A lot of reflections. Only when the lake is calm can the full moon be reflected in all its areas. Then even your face is clearly mirrored on the surface of the water, and you also recognize the pebbles at the bottom of the lake. In a mind that has attained the silence of a calm lake, creativity can come to light, and only in this way you can develop your full potential. Your thinking is clear. Creative, spontaneous thoughts arise in you. You are artist and experience inspiration for your texts, your poetry, your music or pictures which you paint. You will find rooms that were previously hidden inside. You get answers to your questions about architecture, economy, theology, education, politics, religion and philosophy. To think sometimes also may be wrong, but the jungle of the imagination of thinking can often lead us into impenetrable thicket. Therefore, the true is often not directly recognized. So it is sometimes worthwhile to question one's own thinking constructively and in silence. The self that has recognized the quality of the sun is appreciated and honored. It is written with a big S. The little s has become a big S. The shadowy light has become sunny and clear. The individuality of the reflector has risen to the universality of the sun. This example is intended to clarify that our nervous system is a mirror of pure consciousness. If it does not function normally due to stress, impurities and turbidity, this reflection is called the little self. And when the reflector, the nervous system, has been cleaned and is free from all stresses and strains, the reflector radiates in the value of the great self, or in the light of the pure nature of our higher alertness and pure intelligence. And then the self knows, I am, aham. This is self-realization, realization of one's own limitless potential. Vital self-meditation performs this very quietly and smoothly, graceful, profound and sustainable. All inner sounds have calmed down and the mind is now peaceful, conscious and ready to focus in action. In the quiet, holistically unfolded state of mind, we can focus our full attention on one point without being influenced by external disturbances. We want that. As a result, all confusion, restlessness, stress and anxiety dies. What are the symptoms of this experience? Better focus, more awareness and clarity, a thinned ego, awakening of intuition, higher mindfulness. There is no right thinking, only the truthfulness of the silence of the plane of the heart and the source of thought, the origin of our being. The truth is often barely recognizable and manifests itself in respect, tolerance to fellow human beings, compassion, non-violence, willingness to engage in dialogue, human activity in the supply and learning, and is in the inner form like an ocean of the heart, which is never reached by the caravan of our thoughts. Our minds now enter the state of yoga, unity, transcendence. We can also say that is the point at which the yoga journey, the journey of consciousness, has only just begun. The purification of the various states of mind helps us to theoretically and practically internalize the various aspects of the different aspects of the mind. Therefore, it helps to achieve higher states of consciousness. This classification of states of mind helps us to understand our own mental state, so that we can grow in our spiritual and material activities in our levels of consciousness. What are the attributes and values of the fifth state of consciousness? Pure consciousness integrated in the state of waking, sleeping, dreaming, all-encompassing state of consciousness, cosmic. The state of consciousness we know in the yoga philosophy, also in another word which is called Kaivalya. The Sanskrit term Kaivalya stands for freedom, supreme sovereignty, perfect emancipation, empowerment, and the ultimate goal in Raja Yoga. An Indian saying tells us very nicely, all spiritual exercises serve only to remove those barriers and to grant entry to perfection, which is our birthright and being. The state of pure consciousness or clear perception is maintained spontaneously and permanently. The development of this all-encompassing state of cosmic consciousness requires only regular meditation in the morning and evening and regular activity during the day. In this state, the mind has crossed the boundaries of thought and attained boundless, unbounded consciousness. This is real freedom of life. Now we know from our all experiences how fulfilling it is. Freedom is fulfilling. That's why everyone wants freedom. Borders are mean for every capacity. It is good that we experience this freedom through vital self-meditation. Having experienced this aspect of life, it is our legitimate desire that this state of freedom remain with us at all times. This wish is fulfilled by the regular practice of vital self-meditation. Integration of 200% of life, no retreat from life, 100% absolute and 100% relative. This is the philosophy of action. The first purpose of action is the growth of the absolute into the relative. The second purpose is the action on a material level. Therefore, each action allows us, and it gives us two effects: development of creative intelligence and achievement of material goals. Both are joined. 3. The skill in action. Maximum results from minimum effort. 4. Spontaneous right action that is evolutionary and progressive. If the activity is harmonious, the resistance to achievement are less. 5. This is our main theme. Fulfillment in all areas of life is to realize first the highest and then subordinate areas. The highest is infinity, unboundedness, absolute. We first want to bring this value of life into our consciousness, and all other values of relative life are achieved with at least effort. Our goal is, to use a metaphor, it is that we want to conquer the royal castle and all the gold mines and silver mine and diamond mines that belongs to the king's kingdom. Those who conquer the castle will automatically enjoy everything that is available in the country. To explain this point in more detail, one can be supplemental. The nature of our consciousness in its pure essence, where intelligence is filled. This quality attracts the mind in a natural way more than anything else, or transient and superficially beguiling consumer product. It is able to attract our mind. Therefore, it is easier to grasp the pure field of our higher self than to the attempts of seizing everything that is smaller than the infinite consciousness, pure creative primal power, or any kind of material physical value of the relative field. After conquering the pure field of consciousness, the entire territory of relative values falls into our possession. If we are in possession of the government of the universe, we can enjoy all aspects of life. We give water to the root and enjoy the fruit. Develop the full value of your infinite consciousness and enjoy all the aspirations of life. Prospect of quality in the future results. Everything we said in the introductory lectures that we began to experience in these 3 days or weeks, we have joined the first step and the 7th step to fulfillment. That is the foundation of an integrated life. We emphasize definitely, it's very important, our regular meditation and regular activity. Regular review, we talk about our experiences whenever possible, online and with webinars. Vital self-meditation and drugs are very contradictory and counterproductive. When we refine our thinking and raise our consciousness, we should be careful with external influence on the nervous system. We should not extend the activity to the missing meditation, like a businessman loses the very basis of success when he has no contact anymore with his bank. If you have the opportunity, join group meditation or advanced lectures, residence courses, or join our teacher training program. If we have any center nearby, or coordinators or seminars, join our offers. For our friends, we don't mention anything about our program, our mantra, or aspects of this personal instruction. Otherwise, confusion can lead to poor results. Just send them to us and we give them an introduction. We want them to have the same innocent start as we do. The best advice is to bring friends to our lectures. Tell your friends about results, not details of the process or the practice. If you want to check the mantra, it's no problem. We meet online or we meet personal, or we just give me a call for a few minutes if you have any question about your mantra. And there is a point that we would like to cover, just tell us. Provide all the specific instruction you need. And whenever you have any kind of question, just get in touch. This is where our mentoring program for this introductory course ends in the Vital Self Meditation and leads to the advanced programs. If you are interested in further theoretical information and about the wisdom of yoga and the Vedas, then the subsequent courses lead to more understanding and to great knowledge of the universal philosophy about this form of meditation. The Vedas reveal the immutable unity of life in the visible diversity of creation and show us comprehensively both aspects. manifest and unmanifest. And all this, I am that, you are that, and all this is that. The core of Vedic teaching and the philosophy of yoga, which is worth to be considered and realized. Be curious about the next chapters of our follow-up program. Best wishes. All the best for you. Enjoy your meditation. And Namaste.